Hi, Money Magicians. Happy Sunday, Self-Care Sunday. What are you guys doing this Sunday? I am back in Sri Lanka. You guys can see, let me see if I can bring can see I'm back in the beautiful gardens of Fletcher's Organic Wellness Home with Mangala. And this is like home for me. Yeah, was in India, right? Whew. One day I will have to write a book of the amount of times I've gone to India and the amount of times I've arrived in India and been like, I am such a happy human being, and how I just leave India and I'm just like, oh my God, everything sucks. And I mean, like, I know everything doesn't suck, but all that stuff that it brings up. And I always say, and my coach says that India is like, one of my coaches says that India is the place where you go to get full on ego death, right? So I feel like I got full on ego death. I went there and I was like, oh, I know it all. I'm great. Like, I mean, I wasn't saying it verbally, but I was like, yeah, I'm feeling myself. I am happy, never been happier, never had anything go even better in my life. And India was like, come, let's teach you a lesson on ego and humility. And now I'm like, whew, doing so much inner work. Yeah, so there's just a lot going on and it's crazy. So I'm going to go into the topic soon, but I just wanted to say, because a lot of people always think that inner work is, oh, I do the inner work around money and then it's like all done, right? Like all the issues I had are done. But then you set a new income goal and every up level will bring up new issues or the same issues on a deeper level. So things that you haven't looked at deeper. So right now I'm on this mission. Obviously, we had the income setting goals and all the intentional income stuff that we did last year with the Money Magic students, shared my goals and was like, I got this. And then like literally a few days later, I'm in bed and I'm thinking of these goals and I'm hyperventilating and I'm like, I can't do this. Emotionally, everything's come to the surface. All my issues around receiving, all my issues around being good enough, all my issues around visibility. And the crazy thing is actually, it's a big thing for me being visible. That's another story. One day I will do a live video on the vow of visibility because the vow of visibility has nothing to do with showing up in front of tons of people. And oh, it does, but it doesn't. So yes, sometimes at its most extreme, it's I can't show up at all in front publicly, but also the vow of visibility is also about not being able, like keeping yourself invisible. The vow of invisibility is also about not wanting to be seen even by one person. Your truth, not wanting that to be seen, not wanting to be vulnerable. Hi, Unati. So we do a lot of that in the Money Magic course, right? So at first it was like, oh, the first few days I was like, I got this, y'all. I was like telling the Money Magic students, I can do this. It's not a problem. I'll do 30 days of not good enough mixed with a vow of invisibility. And I was like, ugh, no, I've got this inner work thing down pat, right? By like, I don't know, the 14th of January, I'd started on the 1st. I was like, I can't do this. Like, this is how I'm literally in so much physical, emotional, mental, every kind of pain. And like my external environment keeps feeding me the very things I don't want to deal with. Because as we go deeper in the work, sometimes the things that you're like, I don't want to deal with, it's the very stuff that the work will bring up. And literally, that has been most of my January in so many aspects of my life. Like I've literally, hey Teto, hey Ndlevente. I'm saying, yeah, Ndlevente. Sorry, my glasses are not as sharp as my contact lenses, right? So, whew, yeah, so it's been like literally sitting with the same issues, going in depth on them, and sometimes visiting the same memories, because how trauma is formed is For example, for me, there's a memory that happened when I was 3 years old, which I've often gone in and out of that memory between the age of 3 and 4. Happy Sunday, Margaret. So when I was doing this work, right, I always, we were doing the vow to prove the unfairness of God. So that's where that came up for me, because that's part of the work that I do in the Money Magic course is around the God wound. And that's a story for another day that I will go deeper into one day. But yeah, anyway, went to this memory, thought, oh, it's cool, I'm done. I was taken to boarding school at like the age of 3 or 4 because my mom, I had a crazy life experience. So let me just share the life experience quickly. Oh, might as well, right? Since we're doing the live video. So in the village, when I was growing up, we were all these little kids, the neighbors, all of us. We all kind of played together, grew up together. And then there was a girl whom I know and we're cool now. Like I'm not upset about it because in a way we're all kids. She was about 12 or 13 and she took all the kids from the village and she would teach us all about everything sexual, right? She'd have us take off all our clothes. We were like 3, 4 years old. Some were 2 years old. So the eldest must have been like 5. And she would like teach us how, like all the things sexual. I mean, you guys can guess. She was like going into her teens, right? So none of the parents knew what was going on. We were all kids and she was a 12-year-old girl and she was supposed to look after us. So when my mom found out and when the parents found out, all hell broke loose. As you can imagine, it was like hectic, right? So my mom was just like, I don't know how to deal with this. I'm going to send you to boarding school. And I was like 4. Nothing was explained to me as to what was going on. So left at boarding school. And in that moment, obviously, you leave a 4-year-old, they know nothing about washing themselves up, nothing. Up until then, everything had been done for me. And my inner child saw that as abandonment and it brought up a lot of issues. It's a memory that I go to because a memory is not just one thing. Within a memory, there are so many decisions, vows, traumas, etc., stories, beliefs that a child is making up. And I'm 4. The only conclusion that 4-year-olds don't exactly have the most logical reasoning. So the conclusions that I drew from this was, good afternoon, Paul. So the conclusions that 4-year-old me drew, which is not the conclusion that a grown-up me would draw, right, is that I am unwanted, I am unlovable. So it brings about all these classic abandonment issues, which I was like, I don't really have deep abandonment issues, right? And then right there is my deep abandonment issue, which explains why like a lot of my relationships, in particular personal romantic relationships, play out the way that they do because of this, right? So it was about healing that, but not only, and then going deeper into healing that, there are other vows that a child would make, right? And vows are not something that you just discover out of the blue. So if you're sitting here and you're like, oh, I think I may have made this vow, you don't really know, because vows are so super unconscious, and sometimes we don't, it seems like, oh, the memory is okay, it's not a sad memory, but you don't know. For you, the grown-up version of you looking at this memory is great, but until you go deeper into the psyche, you don't know what kind of assumptions your 4-year-old, 3-year-old made, especially because kids are just make their own kinds of assumptions, right? So that was like super challenging, for lack of a better word. So been working with that, and what has been coming up has been this sense of not being safe. And that just doesn't come from this memory. So this memory gives birth to an idea at the age of 4. And that idea idea, which is often what happens with most of us at a subconscious level, that idea starts to proliferate throughout many life moments and memories, and it starts to shape those life memories and moments. It's almost like if you guys have seen the movie Inception. I really, really love that movie for many reasons, and what it talks about at the subconscious level, which is this idea that there's a main idea that sometimes runs through the entire subconscious, and it controls almost everything. And you can peel back layers of various beliefs and ideas, and then you need to still go down to the root of the idea. And that's not to say and for me, I will say this is not one idea. There are many ideas because we are multifaceted people. So, and it may look like this memory has absolutely nothing to do with money, but I promise you it has almost everything to do with money. Because if a child feels like they've done something wrong, that they are unwanted, and then money, how they use money will always be as a tool to either feel wanted or to run away from that feeling of not being wanted. And healing it at a very surface level is not going to help. I can look in the mirror, but if my child is still if my inner child is still carrying that deep core trauma, then it will keep coming up, and it will keep coming up anyway until it is healed, right? So that's in the expansion work, it was like, oh, no, that's not safe. That's not safe. And then other things came up around my teens and how I grew up and why that doesn't feel safe. Why doesn't feel safe to expand? Because by the very nature, expansion means becoming bigger, right? And it's not like becoming bigger physically or any of that, but it means becoming bigger, having more people see you, having more people interact with you, or making more of something, which means as you make more money, something in you also starts to change. You start to shift, right? The way you do business starts to shift. You start to collaborate with different people. All these things mean now a new group of people get to see you, right? When it's oh my God, I'm so scared. And the way that I've been carrying this fear and not feeling safe has been very much in my body. In fact, a lot of things that we carry are in our bodies. We're just not aware of it, right? So for me, it's been on the right side of my body, and my toes have actually been numb for the last 2 or 3 weeks. 3 months, sorry, not since October through to December. They started unnumbing because this Pumla, whom, if you're South African, you know her, or not, but check her out. She does incredible acupuncture, Pumla Bolani. So Sis Pumla referred me to her acupuncture teacher in Goa, and he worked with me when I was in India, and it started unnumbing. But every time I go into the memories, I can feel my toes, I can feel my feet. I literally needed daily acupuncture for 2 weeks to be able to feel my toes again, because this started round about the bank challenge. I was oh my God, I want to reach more people. And my vow of invisibility was nope, we're going to honor the vow. And to honor the vow, your subconscious will make you honor it, even if it means making you sick. And I need you to understand this, right? Vows are super critical in that sense. If your subconscious truly believes that it is not safe to make more money, making more money could actually lead to could actually lead to a physical ailment of sorts. It's just your subconscious literally protecting you from whatever danger it feels. And it could be for so many other reasons. It doesn't have to be just for the sake of protecting you. It could be for a bunch of reasons. Who knows why your soul felt the need to make the vow to begin with, and why it feels the need to anchor itself to that vow. So I, doing the work, right, was thinking, I'm going to take shortcuts with this work. I'm going to just go to acupuncture, go for massages, go to physiotherapy. I'm just going to do everything. Hi, Joy. So I'm just going to do everything. but the inner work of healing that, yeah, I thought like I could do the shortcut because I didn't want to be in this, I'm in so much pain right now, and I'm feeling and I'm going into all these memories and things that I don't want to go into. But you can't, there's some things that we just can't shortcut. Some things like the body never lies, and the body carries emotions, the body carries these vows, these traumas, and sometimes you have to do the inner work in tandem with all the other stuff, right? So even acupuncture has helped 90%. So when I left go, I told them, I was like, well, we've been dealing with the same thing for the last few weeks. I think I'm just going to take a break and actually keep doing the work, because because they were even shocked. They were like, the minute you started doing the inner work, your body literally started responding to the acupuncture. Because up until then, I was like, and then I was like, okay, there's no option. Let's just do this work and just do the hectic, awful work of looking at the inner stuff. And that has been helping tremendously, right? So, wow, I didn't plan to go that in depth of where I was at the moment, but let's skip that. Let's leave that for now, because I'm sure it will keep coming up, because literally I've been sitting with it's not safe in my body for weeks now. And it's really, really fascinating, the reasons why it's not safe, the memories, the family dynamics of what I've seen around expansion, and how my inner child, inner teen, got to these conclusions. So my whole point, though, that I was trying to make is that this work is not a once-off. And I keep seeing people going, oh, I'll do this one thing and then I'll be done. Everything will shift. No, I've been doing this work a while. And like I said, the brand new up level is like going, oh, you want to double your income for the year, do you? Let's have a conversation about this. This level of income was safe for me, right? But now the next level, which is like the level that will allow me to buy buildings with ease in the city center of Joburg, to do all sorts of other epic things, to get land in other countries, that's a level that apparently is, again, not safe for me. It doesn't feel safe, not even close. So that work has to be unearthed as to why, because there's a lot of stories and beliefs that I carry from inner child, inner teen, etc. So my point being, the work is continuous. You're constantly doing it. And I'm just grateful that the Money Magic students, hey, I've triggered a lot of them as I've shared my feedback as well. It's not been easy. Everyone is triggered, but I keep saying we'll get there. The other end of this is always amazing, like the manifestations and the wow factors. But to get there sometimes means to really heal what needs healing. And I mean, obviously I need healing because the right side of my body is literally going through things, and Western, Eastern, all types of traditional medicine haven't been truly able to help me. And I would even have opted for surgery, to be honest, rather than do the work. But since there's nothing to do surgery on, like all that's left is to just do the work, because it's like I'm not in pain. There's no real need. There's no way to do surgery. Nobody has suggested it. I even asked, right? I asked the physiotherapist. I was like, maybe I need something more. He was like, no, your muscles are just bunched up. I think it's very psychosomatic, which is what their words for saying it's mainly maybe psychological. I was like, yeah. Anyway, so today's video, I wanted to really talk about this fear. So apart from the fear of expansion and it's unsafe to expand, etc., there's also this fear that we have around spending money and not using money. And often what I see is that we glorify the people that are like, ooh, they can't use any money. They can't use money, right? They can't spend money. We think that is amazing. People that are like, won't spend anything. We call that, we basically herald those people. We praise them, etc. But there's also the small opportunity cost around the fear of not losing money, the fear of not using money, right? The fear of, "Ugh." There's an opportunity cost around the fear of using money, right? Because most of us are thinking, oh, we're great. I've often heard people go, I don't have a problem with money because I'm great at saving money. And then I'll ask, how are you at investing money or spending money for the things that you really want? And how are you at making money make money? Right? Because true financial freedom is when we can make money for us, right? It's not just about this concept of saving, which I think I get it. After watching the show I Blew It, or I watched YouTube clips, right? I can see how this could be so traumatic, right? The idea of even spending money may be like the most traumatic thing for all of us in case we ever end up on a show like that. But the truth is that there is still fear, right? Fear is fear. It can be fear of something or fear of not having money, fear of losing money. It is still fear. No fear is better than another fear. It's still living with fear. And fear as an emotion leads to very particular financial behaviors. It's just a fact. So there's no, well, at least my fear is that I can't spend money. It's not the fear of having money. Well, it's still fear of money. So Joe, one of the things on the Facebook page, on the Wealthy Money Facebook page, not my personal page, the Wealthy Money Facebook page, which has way more followers than me, right? So, than me as my personal person. So on that page, Sophia, who's my social media manager, had shared we had shared the blog post on how making more money actually won't actually heal your financial issues. So on there, Joe had actually shared something very powerful, which is what motivated this video. She shared, so if you guys don't know her, Joe Nsebeza, incredible personal like relationship coach. So Joe's an incredible relationship coach. Definitely go check her out if you've got relationship issues and dramas. So on there, Joe had said that the blog post had triggered her. The post is on the page. You don't even have to scroll far to get to it. I think it was shared maybe on Thursday or Friday. So it's still very recent on the recent post. So she had shared that actually making more money, she made more money, but at the end of the day, all it did was it increased her fear of spending it. So what ended up happening was that she was making all this money, and in the end, she had more than enough money to buy a house cash in her bank account. So I want you guys to understand this. She had more, and Joe said I could use this, right? I could use her example. It's not a problem. I asked her, you guys can see our interactions on the page. And she said she had made enough money to buy a house cash. And she just couldn't do it. Like spending that money, like actually buying the house and spending that money crippled her. That idea crippled her. So the opportunity cost of owning a house, she completely missed that, right? So she was saying that she still, like, the blog post triggered her because it made her realize that she still hadn't forgiven herself for that. And so it's very, very important to forgive ourselves for our financial mistakes, right? And if you don't know how to do that, search the Wealthy Money blog at wealthy-money.com/blog. Go on the search bar in the blog and type in forgive financial mistakes. There's a whole blog post teaching you how to do that and everything. But Joe's also in the Money Magic course, so she just shipped herself over to the Money Magic course, right? She was triggered. She was like, oh, I'm going off to the course. Bye. So that was like the easy option, the fastest and easiest option. So, but anyway, back to the story. So it was just like this realization that actually and I have a similar story, right? Is that like, I've often had enough money in my bank account to do so much at various points in my life, to buy houses cash, to do a bunch of things. But then the fear of like letting that money go and spending money would cripple me. So what do you do in that case? You do what me and Joe probably did, right? You're not even aware of the opportunity cost. You hold on to this money and then you spend it little by little on other things, because the notion is that I just spend a little bit here, I spend a little bit here. And the other thing that I think is important, I don't know about Joe, but for me, what I did, what I used to do, I would spend the money on things that I don't even like, but they cheap, and this is how I'm going to save the money, right? So it's not like I really, really want this bag, but oh my God, the bag that I truly want actually costs X amount and I can't spend money, so money will go. So I'll spend on little bits and pieces. The only words that are coming up is like spending it goes, as my mom would say, like little by little, little by little. It's just like, there's not even, you don't, and then the money is going, but in your head, or in my head, I was fooling myself into believing at least there's enough money still. If I spend on this little bit and pieces just on really things that I don't want, but it's cheap, I'm not buying the actual thing, I'm not spending on expensive things, I'm just buying on the bare minimum, money won't go. So here's an interesting thing on that. I have found, and what I consistently find with clients, with my one-on-one clients, with money magic students, is the same thing, is that the minute we spend money like that, money goes even faster, right? So I always say to the money magic students, and they'll tell you that buy the thing that you truly want, right? So if there's a difference between, there's a 10,000 Rand difference or $1,000 difference between this couch and that couch, let's have a conversation. Rather buy the thing that you really want. And if you don't have the money for it, either wait and save for the money, or else ask the universe to get you one on a discount, on sale, etc. Why? There's so many reasons for that, right? So often it's not that we don't have the money, but that we are constantly reacting from the belief that money will run out and I don't have enough money. Most people tend to think that they are being great money managers then, right? And yet what I have found is that people, the more that you, and I'm sure most people watching this can relate to this, that the more you've tried to save and you've done the whole, like, I will not even buy the food that I want. I will live on bread and water. I will downgrade on everything that I want to own. I won't even get the proper clothes. I'll get the cheapest of the cheap. Everything, you still end up frustrated, because the issue is not about money in that case, right? The issue is about something so much deeper that's going on within us, right? And so the belief that we're going to run out of money is literally the thing that is driving us. So me, what I would do, and what Joe was saying, is that, yeah, she had all that money to buy a house. She was able to save it, and she could have just bought a house cash. And then she decided to just spend little, and she thought that money, that way she's saving money. And guess what? In that moment, actually, after a while, all the money left. And then we can't see what we did with the money, right? And I so relate to the story, because this was me for years, where you literally cannot see what you did with the money. You work hard, you want the money to come through, you're here for it. And yet when the money is there, you can't bring yourself to spend it. Why? Because it's not just about having money. We also have to have, I don't know what to call it, but we also have to have the courage, for lack of a better word, to be, or the wisdom, better word, yeah, better word than even courage, is maybe even the wisdom or even the trust in our own intuition. Hi, Nandi. So even in our own intuition on how to make money for us, right? Because if you have even a small amount of money, and we speak about this with Mizo in the property podcast. So if you haven't listened to the New Year's Eve or the Christmas property podcast, yeah, both those property podcasts, the New Year's goal setting podcast and the Christmas podcast, we talk about how even just having enough money to pay for the down payment on your house, that's it, can literally lead you to becoming a real estate investor that buys multiple houses, because you can then refinance the second house, and then the next year get another house, refinance the second house as well. You can refinance the first house to get the second house, and refinance the second house to get the third house. So it's just not about the money. So our fear actually stops us from making more money and making money make money for us, right? So after a while, the money starts to go. And also there's a very logical point for this. If I'm operating from this belief that money will run out, so I need to buy the cheapest of everything, I can't spend money the way that I want, I need to get everything for free. It's one of the things that I literally break all my clients of. All my money magic students, all the clients, I go ham on this. We want everything for free. I'm like, because you can only attract that which you are. So if you are just getting free services, free products from everyone, who you are attracting for your business, for whatever you're selling, will be people similar to you. And those people will also be wanting everything for free from you. So if you're wanting everything discounted, you'll be attracting those people. So just be aware. This is a law. Like Nichiren Buddhists call it Eshofuni. It's so as within, so without. So it's that. So let's not recreate. Let's not go get karma that we don't need to go get, right? So if there's a way to not have this karma, erase it, right? So my whole point is, back to the original point, which was the not enough money. So if I'm operating from the space that I don't have enough money, even though I've got all this money in my bank account, or this money will run out. So just feeling into your body, automatically you can feel that doesn't feel like, oh my God, calm about spending money, right? So if everything I'm doing is from a space of anxiety around money, eventually it's going to affect how I make money and how I spend money. And if all I'm doing is spending money, because remember, I've got all this money in the bank account, but I've got this gripping fear that this money will run out. Oh my God, this money will run out. Oh, what am I going to do? And all I'm doing is I'm spending that money that I'm scared will run out. Obviously, it's logic. It's not even spiritual or anything. It's just logic. If I am taking from something and not replenishing to that thing, it's going to run out, right? But often what that fear and anxiety does is it freezes us, right? We don't know, we don't deal with it, we don't address it. We just think that the solution is to go as cheap as possible, to ignore it as long as there's money there. And so we just keep spending, and yet, oh my God, money will run out. And that fear keeps making us frozen. And the more scared we get around money, the more impossible it becomes for us to actually think creatively when it comes to money, right? And actually start using money creatively and start making money make money for us, right? So it is so critical to understand this. Okay, so that's it from me for today. I think I'm going to give you guys a break. I am so happy I got to do this live. Clearly, I'm starting to chip away at some of my issues. Let me know if any of this resonates with you, if it makes sense, because it is so important. A lot of what we've been told is don't spend on certain things, go for the cheapest, don't use money, etc. And I just want you to start thinking about the opportunity cost of that fear of spending money and what that does, because there are so many different ways to grow money. The important thing is not to just have money in our bank accounts. The important thing is to have money work for us. So there are many ways. We're all sitting here and our intuition, some of us, not all of us, should I say, some of us are sitting here and our intuition is saying, you should go into property, you should go into business, you should start a business on this, you should do this, you should do that. And we're like, no, I cannot, because it will be a waste of money and it will be spending money. And the only way to get financial freedom is saving money. Really? There's a difference between saving money and investing money. And these are conversations that we need to start having as a people. There's a totally big difference. And of course, it's important to save money, because the more money you have saved, the more money you can buy things and do things. And also, the safer you feel, the more anchored you feel in emergencies, and the less likely you are to create debt, right? So let me know if this resonates. And if it's resonating and you're not in the Money Magic course and you're thinking, oh, I want to be part of this course, and I hope like my story at the beginning didn't deter you from the course, right? Because it is a pretty awesome course. So join us for the masterclass. Join me for the masterclass on Sunday. So next Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're in the US, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, US and Canada. Well, on the eastern seaboard of the US, should I say. And then it's 11 a.m. And then for South Africa, it is 6 p.m. South African time. So join me. The link to the masterclass is wealthy-money.com/masterclass. Again, the link for the masterclass is wealthy-money.com/masterclass. In that masterclass, I'm going to be talking about the 7 emotions that stop us from saving, investing, and increasing income. And again, I want to just say the masterclass is 90 minutes long. Right? So make time for that 90 minutes, but also be practical. You have lived your whole life with these issues and with your stories around money and your traumas and your beliefs around yourself, your self-perception, your ancestral stories and all that. You cannot expect that a 90-minute class is what is going to heal all this trauma from lifetimes. That is impossible, right? This is why the Money Magic course is a lifetime course. Because like I said, I've even been sitting with the same 2 meditations, Not Good Enough and the Vow of Invisibility meditation, for the last 19 days now, right? And it's just 2 meditations, because we are layered people. There's so much. You can't expect that like suddenly your life is just going to shift. You're going to be healed in 90 minutes. And I will never sell you that, right? I know it could be like, oh, there's a theory that, oh, healing is just like it can be done instantaneously. Yes, but then you're constantly living. And I feel like healing is a constant thing. Like every day we're going in and checking in with ourselves. We don't just meditate once and then just go, oh, that's been good. Like meditation is a constant daily practice. Yoga is a constant daily practice. All these healing modalities are constant and daily for a reason, right? So that being said, join me for the masterclass, wealthy-money.com/masterclass. Cheers, you guys. Namaste.